dreamers stay alive.
Great. You're telling me we're risking our lives on some half-baked trek up a mountain, and you don't even know what we're gonna get out of it? You guys are more loco than the locals.
It's not a question about getting something out of it. It's a spiritual journey. You wouldn't understand.
Welcome to Series 1, Episode 52 of Conversation Eagle Mountain, a podcast about the tribe. I'm your host, Lance, and joining me on the podcast panel today is Liz.
Hello.
Sabine.
Hi.
Maggie.
Hi.
And Carlin.
Hello.
With episode notes done by Matt and myself. So for the series finale, the screenplay was done by David Fox. It was directed by Costa Boats, and the episode synopsis will be read out by Liz.
The Mallrats have encountered a literal roadblock on their way to Eagle Mountain, but they're saved by the sudden arrival of Bray and Ebony and one of the Locos' buses. Bray's reception by Amber, however, is chilly, much to his confusion. But just when all hope seems to be lost, the Mallrats finally reach their destination and are delivered one final message from the long-lost adults, which places them securely in the driver's seat of their own destiny.
Okay, loads to go through, so let's jump right into the cliffhanger from the previous episode. So the finale kicks off with our Mallrats journey suddenly cut short due to the quarantine blockade by the rural tribe, who want to contain the mutated virus within the city limits. The situation, however, turns even more dire when the Locos suddenly appear from the other direction, seemingly trapping them, until they realise that it's Bray and Ebony coming to their aid. So panel, just what were your immediate thoughts of this iconic bus escape scene?
I just love the fact that when Ebony pokes out and says, "Hey, come on," they all just stare at her.
Yeah, like really, you think that they think that, okay, that makes a lot of sense, Ebony.
And of course, Trudy is the one to point out, oh, but no, look, guys, it's Bray.
It's Bray, yeah.
First one to look for him.
Zandra's like, we're surrounded.
I mean, if they saw Ebony, why wouldn't they look for Bray?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know.
I'm impressed that Bray can drive a bus.
So am I.
Like, what? You got your Class C license? That's impressive.
You took driver's ed before all this happened? Cool.
He has a skill.
I mean...
Yeah, driving a bus isn't easy.
Yeah, it's not easy to drive that, especially not on mountain roads.
Mm-hmm. Now, did the back of that bus say Adios City?
Yeah.
I think that's what it said, and in my head, I'm like, how did they just decide to spray paint this on the back of the bus before they took off? I'm so confused.
Ebony did say she kept it aside for some
Right.
kind of so maybe that was just something that was like
Maybe,
her escape plan if she
Maybe
ever
it was
needed
her
to get out.
getaway. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
I accept that.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. So when I originally watched season 1, like a little over a year ago, I watched about 10 episodes, and then I was just so excited because the show was so amazing thus far that I went to go watch the season 1 featurette. And in that featurette, it showed that bus crashing through all the barrels and all the Mallrats together. And I was like thinking like, oh, it's so awesome. When is that episode?
Yeah.
And yeah. And what a better way to show it is the season finale.
Yeah, I do like how they incorporate that scene, into some of the entrances later on in the series. You see it more, so that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we touched on it a little bit. Like, did it surprise anybody that Ebony had this bus stashed away as an escape plan?
No,
Not really.
nah, I'm not surprised because it probably wasn't her that had it stashed away. It was probably Zoot.
I was actually just thinking about that. I'm like, Bray knows how to drive this bus, which is extremely rare given his age, and that it's not. You don't usually get that license when you get your regular license. You have to, do a whole different course to drive that kind of vehicle. I'm like, what if that was something Martin and Bray had learned to do, and before the virus ever happened? It was just, their father had them study that for driver's ed. And yeah, it was Zoot who had a bus on standby. And of course, Bray was like, oh yeah, I can drive this.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. We never saw Zoot drive that police car, did we?
No, but he was younger. He was Trudy's age.
Yeah, he was only what we say. I normally say he was about 15. But no, he had people to drive the police car for him. Why would he drive himself around?
Yeah.
Right.
A king doesn't drive himself.
No, absolutely not. And how's he
You have
going to stand?
slaves for
How's he
that.
going to stand out the roof? If he's driving.
That's what minions are for.
Right.
Yeah, I wonder if he ever took his test.
I don't think so.
Not at that age.
No, I mean I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is in New Zealand as far as driving ages go, though.
On the other hand, we don't know what these kids learned. We know that Ryan and Lex were sent to boot camp, so
Yeah.
we can probably assume the same about Bray and Martin. So who knows what they learned there?
Yeah, but were all the
Right.
boys sent to? Were all the boys sent to boot camp around this time, or were it just certain boys? Boys that got in trouble? Like, what was this boot camp for?
They tried to evacuate different old teenagers to places, because
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Was the boot camp a place that they were doing that for, though? That's what I'm confused on. I always just assume Lex got in trouble, and they got in trouble, and that's where they ended up.
yeah, no clue on how they selected who they sent where.
I was with Maggie. I thought, judging from Lex and Ryan and the people they're with, and the way they're treated by the women in charge, I assumed this was more for children who were in trouble a lot, and were considered high risk cases, and that's why they were sent there. And they were clearly from a different part of the city than Bray and Trudy, Ebony. They went to more of a high class school, upper middle class, I would assume.
Yeah.
And there were quarantine camps, weren't there, where they took the children?
Yeah. So I wondered what they taught them there more, because
survival skills, maybe.
Yeah, because Trudy even mentions that she didn't want to leave her parents, but she was sent away as well.
Yeah, we see that in a flashback,
But yeah, coming back to Ebony, I'm not surprised she had her backup plan stashed away somewhere.
No, either am I.
Because she's smart enough to know that you always have a backup plan.
Right, and for the last 10 episodes, we've been talking about her not having this backup plan. What was her end game? She was going to leave the city. She was just going to leave.
Yeah, I mean, she does know how to look out for herself.
Oh yeah, she's a survivor, above all else.
To have this bus to get away if everything goes to hell, yeah.
But it's not like an inconspicuous escape plan. It's a massive bus.
That's huge. That's the thing. Yeah, how was she planning on going? She was out in style, yo. She was gonna go out with a bang.
Yeah, she was just gonna drive all over them. Anyone trying?
She anticipated a bumpy road. Okay.
I mean,
run over her sisters.
A car is more easily stopped than a bus.
Yeah, that's the type of vehicle you would want in an apocalypse.
Oh yeah, and what you can load up in a bus, like what you can your supplies, and you can fortify it better, and do. But for her boy toys, they were just there to do her bidding.
To drive her bus.
Yeah, to drive her bus, exactly.
Do you think she always stashed it away to the hope one day to run away with Bray?
Oh, maybe.
Who knows?
You can only hope.
Maybe she felt like, after they rescued these people, these kids, and they got them to Eagle Mount, that her and Bray could just ride off into the sunset. You never know.
I bet Ebony was hoping they would never find his friends on the way.
Probably. I can almost guarantee that she was hoping that, and they could just leave. Oh, yeah.
She must have been like, when they found him on the road, she must have been like, ah, shucks.
Dang it.
Now we're going to rescue these idiots. Here goes my plan.
She was doing her best to drive slow.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, she did realize that those idiots were her best chances at getting more of the antidote in case she would get it herself.
Yeah, but if her and Bray got far enough away from, people, maybe it would be, I don't know.
I'm just saying, I don't think she would have been upset if they hadn't
If
found
they
her.
didn't. No, I don't think she would have been heartbroken at all.
Happily ever after with Bray.
Yeah.
Bray would have been upset, like, they've got to be somewhere, and she would have, calmed him and charmed him, and hey, it's just us, and don't worry, and blah, blah, blah. We'll just keep going.
Be fine. Yeah.
We'll be fine.
Keep going. Maybe we'll find them.
Exactly. Just keep driving, Bray.
Yep, just keep going. They're getting away from the city, so we have to get away. Yeah, I can see that.
And then also, they did desert you, and they did leave you behind. I'd never do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's stick with Ebony, because, I was quite surprised, I think, about everyone's kind of, the overall reaction that the Morats had to the Queen of the Locos being within them. How did everyone else feel about those reactions there?
I can't believe that they were so willing to just allow her to come along. Her bus or not, they overpower her. They didn't have to take her with them. They could have left her on the side of the road, which I feel like they should have.
Tied to a tree.
It was all very tame, like considering the last time they saw her.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's why it was really nice to, later on hear Trudy say what she says to her.
Yes.
Like
Mhm.
it was great to see her finally be like, no, you don't get to have the power anymore.
I think that's kind of the point,
Yeah.
when Ebony is with her crowd of her bully boys, she gets a reaction from people,
Mhm.
but the Mallrats have already dealt with Ebony on their own at this point, and she didn't do anything to them, even though they put her in a cage. They got a feel for just how threatening she is by herself. And it doesn't help that when they're seeing her now, it's because her tribe turned on her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd be wondering, I'd be like, why else would she be with Bray? Things didn't go well for her. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And she's not a threat. She's not scary. She's just a tiny girl. And it's like, you need us more than we need you. If you start trouble, we'll leave you on the side of the road.
Exactly. You can see
Mhm.
that in Trudy's face and in the tone of her voice.
So I think it's just a power dynamic of knowing that she can't do anything to them. They could do something to her if they wanted to. I think they're also very distracted right now. And Ebony's smartly playing nice. She doesn't edge over being sarcastic with these guys because she
Yeah.
knows she's in a tight spot. She's dependent on them. And so that might have a lot to do with it. It's just the power struggle right here. She doesn't have any. And they don't have to be threatened by her. If she makes a wrong move, then yeah, they could just kick her to the curb.
Yep.
And right now, they're all just focused on finding the answer that will save their lives. They don't really care, about her.
Yeah, it has to be the distract. I mean, I can't see them allowing her to stay with them under any other circumstances. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They have bigger fish to fry, and it isn't Ebony.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ebony. Well, I was happy she came along, and you're right. It's very easy to overpower Ebony because she's like what, 5 feet,
Yeah, she's a tiny
20
little girl.
pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like a chihuahua. But just watching this episode, it almost kind of felt that she's like it's kind of like a video game, and she's just this companion that's just coming along, not necessarily the main character, but always there to give her insight when needed. But she's just there to pretty much just observe everyone and what's really going on until she can get her hands on the antidote.
Mm.
On the other hand, Ebony was always the person to, find a way to save herself. So she might actually have some use, even if it is that you think you're walking into a trap and you can send her in first. But
I mean, no, Ebony is a very useful character. She's proven herself.
and they know that.
And Bray especially knows that. It's best to keep Ebony close to them, opposed to making her an enemy.
Besides, if you look at the psychology of survival groups in situations like this, sometimes it's weird, but you'll find that it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And when the thing you're going up against is way bigger than the everyday struggles, you kind of just let bygones be gone. And we see the Mallrats do that among each other all the time. Remember,
All the time.
Lex betrayed them too, and it was just like he came home and everyone forgot about the betrayal. Like, oh, we got to take care of him. He's sick. He's dying, Besides, he made effort. He saved us. And they're looking at Ebony kind of the same way. Like, well, they got us out of this jam. Whatever. It's just not worth it to keep fighting about this stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, that's funny you say that. I think Bray's motto for handling any situation with Ebony is that whole keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
Yeah.
Which is a smart thing to do with Ebony.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah,
if you know where she is and what she's doing, she can't be doing anything against you.
When you think that.
Well, at least she can't physically be planning something against you if you have her in your sight.
Yeah.
Amber, what's wrong?
Figure it out for yourself, right?
I don't get it. I thought you'd be glad to see me. What, is this something to do with me and Ebony?
Wow, you must be psychic.
But there's nothing going on.
I saw the two of you together, so don't bother lying. By the pool, you were getting a nice tan. Does the word helicopter ring a bell at all? So do me a favor, Bray. Drop it dead.
Bray confronts Amber about her apparent coolness towards him, but he fails to convince her that there's nothing going on between him and Ebony. Later, Ebony coaxes him into putting his arm around her within clear sight of Amber, and his request for her to tell Amber the truth ends really badly when she purposely implies the opposite of her admittedly truthful words. So yeah, panel, is he really this naive? Or do you generally feel like he does like the drama a little bit?
This is where I'm so torn, okay? Like, I don't want to believe that he is, like, I don't think he's naive, but I also don't want to believe he's stupid enough. Like, that he is so lacking the common sense and the wherewithal to understand that just being like, okay, yeah, no problem, I'll keep you warm, isn't going to make an issue. Like, are you kidding me? So maybe he does like the attention. I don't like believing that he likes the attention, okay? But he can't be this stupid. Come on.
You guys aren't probably gonna like my point, like where mine coming from, but
I'm
honestly,
just so disappointed.
I'm Team Bray through this entire thing. One, Bray has proved that he's this naive and this stupid.
I guess you're right.
He's already proven that he doesn't assume people will think ill of his intentions because his intentions are good. So yeah, Bray could totally be tricked into putting his arm around Ebony without thinking, duh, what would this look like? You know, he's already shown that he's that naive when it comes to women and their manipulations and their tricks. You know, when he'd be left alone with Celine, he didn't think of what that would look like to Trudy. Or if he spent the night in Trudy's room, he didn't think of how that would look like to the rest of the tribe. Bray doesn't think on that level because he's not doing that stuff. So he wouldn't do that to some. Well, I mean, he would, but he just doesn't. He honestly just doesn't think that way.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
I mean, with all the crap that Amber, like, they just are dealing with in that moment, why wouldn't he just use his brain a little bit more to think? She already thinks something's going on.
Yeah, but remember, Bray he's the one who does not understand.
No, I know, but she already
him.
But she already
she has not explained to him fully
I guess.
what she thinks he did. You know, like he honestly.
But he knows
understand.
it involves Ebony. He knows it involves Ebony.
That's why he immediately says, "Ebony, you need to tell her there's nothing going on between us."
And then
for whatever reason, she won't listen to me. I don't know why she won't listen to me. I'm her boyfriend, and she doesn't trust me. I don't know why. Can you please talk to her?
Because you're cuddling with Ebony by the creek.
He just doesn't see it like that.
I know, and it makes me so sad.
He is being his, well, not adorable, but his gallant self with the girl is cold. I should keep her warm because that's how I was raised.
But it's Ebony.
That's the only reason why I disagree with Liz, because
Ebony.
He specifically says, "Oh, why don't you go into the bus because it's cold?" He has a hint of like, something's not right there, and he's still not.
Does it?
Yeah, I'm not quite.
It doesn't, and he knows the bus is right there, and you can't tell me he doesn't know that Amber is sitting on that bus.
It involves females. Bray does not have a brain when it comes to females.
Well, he needs to get one.
If he just put his arm around her, I would agree with you there, but he didn't. He was like, "Oh, wait, when you would be more comfortable on the bus and everything." Like, no, it went through his mind. It did go through his mind. I can't.
I think the only thing that went through his mind is that he didn't want to put his arm around her, and that's why he was like, "Why don't you go on the bus?" And she's just like, "Just for a second, please." And he's like, "Fine." Bray falls for this all the time.
He allowed Ebony to take advantage of him again. He knows that's what she does.
Always let
he
her
knows
do this.
that's what she does. That's why I can't feel sorry for him. Like, I'm sad that he's this dumb, but
Bray doesn't want to assume these things about people, even if he doesn't always trust them. And like, time will go on where he won't trust Ebony at all, you know. But this is still the beginning where he does trust her.
He kidnapped him.
He doesn't see it that way. You know what I mean? He just sees it as his ex-girlfriend being petty. You know, he still hasn't seen her do enough where he's like, I don't trust you as far as I can throw you. This is their relationship. This is the way it's always been. This is what it will always be. I'm just saying.
What do you mean he hasn't seen her do enough? She kidnapped Lex as well, and she force-fed this stuff down his throat that they didn't know what it was. She kidnapped. What do you mean she hasn't done enough? That's what I don't get.
It's not until she crosses the lines in season 2 and season 3 that Bray reaches a point where he doesn't trust her. And even then in season 3, she's able to convince him she's changed. that's the complication of their relationship. I'm not saying I like it. I'm saying this is in character for him. It is consistent for Bray. This doesn't come out of nowhere. It may be frustrating to watch, but it's consistently who he is, and this is his relationship with Ebony, and it stays this way until the day he disappears.
No, I'm not saying it's not consistent and it's not who he is. I'm disappointed that there was no development. There was no more character development in that aspect. But when it's in his face and he knows he's being told this is what's happening, and he's still just it's disappointing is what it is. And I guess that's on the writers, not on the character.
I think you all make a good point, but you are all wrong.
Oh God.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Clearly, Bray is subconsciously still in love with Ebony.
No.
And it is shown. Okay. Well, it is shown. It is shown throughout this episode, and especially through that moment. That's number one. Number two, the only thing I'm mad about Bray is just the fact that he keeps teasing Ebony about not going all the way, just fully in love. I understand he's kind of technically with Amber and all that, but I don't think that should matter too much. Yes, Bray is naive, and it is consistent throughout the entire series.
He's naive, but not in the aspect that he loves Ebony. Like, he may still like have some care for her because, you know, he knew her before the virus. He doesn't want to see anything bad happen to her. You know what I mean? But I don't feel like he loves her that way. I think you're just trying to like get us to see this point of view, and I just don't see it. I'm sorry.
Ebony is just another one of his might have beens.
Yeah.
I think it's love.
I mean, I like the idea of Bray and Ebony together, don't get me wrong.
Oh, I write them together all the time.
It's
just
it's tribe love. That's what it is. If Ryan thinks he loves Celine and if that's tribe love, then Bray loves Ebony.
I wonder if Bray's attachment with Ebony has anything to do with the fact that she's one of the only other people besides Trudy who came from his life before.
Yeah, who knew Martin.
You know, remember he and Ebony, they started a relationship when the world was normal. You know, he was allowed to just allowed to be a teenage boy. You know, his parents weren't sick yet. Yeah, people were getting sick, but at the time they met, it wasn't encompassing everything. And they got to have something, just a normal teenage romance.
Yeah.
And then everything fell apart. And Bray convinced himself for a long time that Ebony only changed because the world ended. And he's always been convinced that he could get her back to the person he met, that sweet girl that she had convinced him she was. You know,
that sweet girl that told him that he was about to hurt his brother if he would go out with Trudy.
Yeah, you know, that's who he met. That was the Ebony she presented herself as, you know, and it wasn't until everything went wrong that he started seeing sides of her that he didn't like, that he couldn't be with. And then she broke his heart and ended it and ran off. And in the same way that Bray convinced himself that his brother only started showing psychotic urges once the world ended, Bray would never believe that Martin might have had those psychotic thoughts long before the world ended.
No.
He sees
He's a sweet baby brother.
Yeah, he sees him as a victim of the apocalypse. And I think he sees Ebony the same way. And it's a complicated thing. He can't let go of her, no matter what I don't think it's love so much as just this attachment to...
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
You know, this was somebody from before, you know.
Someone who knew him before he...
Who probably knew his parents as well.
They they spent time together. They had friends together. They visited friends. They held a baby together. They had something.
Yeah.
It's just not easy for him to give up on her no matter what she does. I'm not saying it's healthy or it's something I can really relate to or that I would do the same thing. But I mean, yeah, he does really dumb things when it comes to Ebony. He can't see straight when it comes to her. I don't think it's, oh, I'm still in love with her and I'm in denial. Just more like I can't let go of this last thread to my previous life.
Yeah, the same way that he was with Martin or Zoot, you know, at the end there, still trying to convince him.
And let's not forget, Bray likes helping damsels in distress, and he had just helped Ebony get to safety out of the city, and then after everyone else.
He does like to be the knight in shining armor.
Yeah, Yeah, he'd just seen her vulnerable after, losing her throne.
He might have thought in that moment that he could finally convince her and convert her,
Mm-hmm.
from the dark side.
He's looking at her like, are you done? Are you, now that your experiment didn't work out, are you ready to see reason?
Yep, you're ready to be civilized and live in a
Mhm.
civilized society. Yeah.
And she's like, sure, whatever you want to think, Bray.
She'll
Sure.
tell him anything that she thinks he wants to hear.
You're right, Bray. I am just an innocent, sweet, victim of this world. What was I thinking? I should have listened to you all along.
She knows the mole rats are her best bet right now.
Well, yeah, because she knows, they're the only active people looking for a solution.
Mm-hmm. And Bray is the only active person willing to defend her.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean that really goes to show like what the heart that Bray does have, and the caring that he still does care. He does care for her, like Liz, explained. Because he could have just left her. He could have saw that it was hitting the fan, and he could have just taken off, but he didn't.
He's not that guy.
I mean, what's the first thing he says to her after they have to beat back Spike? Now, are you ready?
Are you ready? Yep, exactly.
He's just waiting her out because he's convinced that she can be brought back. Or maybe there's just this, because he couldn't save his brother, there's this.
He wants to save her, yeah.
He needs to save her.
Right. He has this innate urge to protect her. And I do feel like a lot of that comes from Martin and his not being able to protect him. Because I don't believe he would have ever actually given up on Zoot,
No, he wouldn't.
No.
So he's not going to with her. At least, as things are now.
Toxic relationships are very difficult to end.
Oh, I know. Just makes me sad.
But I'll throw you guys a bone. He's an idiot.
I know. That's why I said that's why I'm so sad is why does he got to be so dumb? But why? Like, I know everything you're saying makes sense. Okay. But why does he have to be dumb?
Because some guys just are.
He has to have a fatal flaw.
I know, but
no offense, boys.
Like, I guess that is the flaw. He's supposed to be good at like everything else. And then when it comes to women, nope.
Dirt.
Exactly.
Can't have it all.
I guess not. He's got the hair, but that's about it.
It's like, you're so pretty and you're so good and you're so dumb.
You're so dumb.
Amber, I feel terrible.
Why?
About you and Bray. I really didn't mean to stir things up for you. It's alright. I'm glad you told me before things got too complicated. You left a message for him back at the mall, didn't you? So he could come after us? I thought I was doing the right thing. Don't feel bad about it. Do you believe in this mountain of Tysans? Right now, I don't believe in anything.
Does everyone still kind of agree with just Amber's stance in all this and not agreeing with what Bray is saying? Because there is a little conversation that she has with Trudy earlier on where Trudy says, do you believe in this mountain of Tysans? And Amber just sighs and says, right now, I don't believe in anything. Do you still agree with her thoughts on all of this?
I'm two minds about it. I'm gonna try and explain. I have mind of how I felt at the time and trying to isolate this situation between them. And then, of course, unfortunately, it's colored by what I know comes later.
Mm-hmm.
In the same, how you can't look at Ryan and Celine and think of them as sweet because you know how toxic that relationship becomes. This really does color my opinion of where Amber stands. And I'm going to try and be fair, but on the fair hand, I understand Amber's never gone through this before. She's never felt this before. And I've been where she is, where it's just you can't think rationally about this perceived betrayal by somebody. And it's not till you have to grow. You have to grow up and then look back on it and realize, oh, maybe I wasn't fair about that, because you didn't know how to handle it. You didn't know how to handle the pain. And if this was the only time Bray and Amber had gone through this kind of misunderstanding where she doesn't even want to hear his side, she wants to ignore any evidence that she might have been wrong about him, I'd let it slide. I totally would. I'd be like, oh, it's just a bump in the road that they had to work through this young relationship. But unfortunately, this is just a pattern for Amber. Once she's made up her mind that this person did her wrong, she will ignore all evidence to the contrary. It's almost like being angry is more important than finding out what actually happened. And her reaction to Bray,
being angry and feeling right.
like I'm right to be this angry. And any evidence that she's not actually interested in making up with Bray. She's not interested in hearing what he has to say. She just wants to be justified in her anger
and she just wants him to see how much he's hurt her.
And it's like, even like her reaction to Bray, you would think, like, I want you to pretend you didn't see the pool. Like, you have no context for what Bray apparently did. And just think of this episode alone. Doesn't it sound as though Bray actually did do something?
Yes, it does. I thought that myself as well. I go, what is she implying right now? Because he's going to think that she's implying something that was way off base.
Bray said there's nothing going on between us. He's trying to, and even Ebony says there's nothing going on between us. I mean, granted, she's mocking Amber when she does it, but she does say, look, I tried to hook up with your man, but for whatever reason, he's still into you. Don't know why, but he is. And she doesn't even want to consider that might be the truth. And she will continue this down the line. You would think Bray had said, I did mess around with Ebony and I'm sorry. And that Amber was trying to couldn't forgive him. That's what it feels like. And so, again, I'm trying to be fair. If this was the only time this ever happened between them, I would be like, yeah, she has every right to feel this way. But since it's not, and it's actually a pattern of behavior for Amber, I'm just like...
It's annoying.
Yeah, she's one of those people that when she feels like she's been wrong, she shuts down. And there's no reasoning with her.
There's
she's worse
no
than,
getting through to her.
Yeah, I don't even know how to describe it,
She could legit watch a recording of what really happened and still ignore it.
Exactly. And still see what in her mind she thinks happened.
And then still get mad at that person when they finally give up trying to convince her.
Yep. Well, why'd you stop? Why are you not trying anymore? Well, why should I?
You're not listening to me. You don't believe me. Why would I bother to keep trying? So this is difficult for me. You know what I mean? Like, it's just colored by too much crap that happens in the future.
And that I think is unfortunate, since we are biased because we know, you know what I mean, what happens down the line. But
it's like, I'm trying to be like, nah, I've done this, because I didn't know any better.
Same. Yeah.
And I was so hurt. And then later you look back and go, oh boy, I was so mean to that poor boy. I blamed him, and
she's just great at making assumptions.
Yeah, she is. She's very good at seeing, certain things, hearing whatever, and then putting together a story in her mind.
The only thing even when I'm being fair to her, this is my one question. When the water trial came up, Amber didn't even consider for a second that Bray stole that water.
Nope.
Even though the only evidence she had that he didn't do it was he said he didn't do it. She believed him wholeheartedly. She gave him the benefit of the doubt, and she was willing to go to war for him.
Yep.
Okay. So if you trust him, and now you guys are a couple, why can't you give him the benefit of the doubt? Not even a little bit, to allow him to explain himself. I just don't like.
I mean, yeah, that's a good question, because I guess with the water trial, it didn't involve her being in a relationship with him and then him being with another woman.
Yeah, it wasn't about her.
Yeah, it wasn't about her and her feelings. It was about making sure that he. And you're right, it doesn't make much sense as to why she can't trust him if she trusted him then. But I feel like it's different, because they're in a relationship now, and her heart's going to be broken, or it has been broken in her eyes, so she doesn't want to listen to him at all.
Yeah, it's that Sasha effect. She's just really so desperately afraid of being so hurt so completely that she's just shut herself off from listening to reason.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm suddenly wondering, was the water trial after Sasha left?
Yeah.
Yes, because it's what brought her out of her stupor.
Right.
I just feel like if you love somebody and you can't give them the benefit of the doubt, maybe there's more wrong with your relationship than you thought.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's even different if he had done this to her before. Then I would
And
totally
yeah,
understand her
but
being like,
he's
"Screw you."
watched how he was with the other women,
But
Yeah.
again,
the other
situations
girls.
were very
and
different.
They
And she
were different.
knows
They were
They-
different. She knows they're different, but in the mind of a lover who's been cheated on, you know what I mean? That's
Or
not what you're going to
thinks
think
they've
of.
been cheated on.
Yes, but that's not what they're going to think of. They're going to think of how easily Bray was with these women, how
Mhm.
easily he bounced, from one girl to another, kissing Celine and staying in Trudy's room, and like she's going to see these things in her head, and that's all she's going to think about.
And it's like, then why are you with him? If you don't
Exactly.
trust him, you shouldn't be in this relationship with him.
And that's the thing, is she probably thought that
Right.
she did trust him, 100% trusted him until this moment happened, and then all these things are popping into her head, That's just what would happen if I was in that situation. That's just, from my point of view.
Before that, she didn't know about Bray and Ebony's past.
No.
She just saw the moments with the women near her and, how minor that was at first. But now she knows about his history with Ebony and seeing what she thinks he has seen.
Yep.
Yeah, she makes more of it in her mind than there actually was. And I can kind of understand why, which is strange for me, but yeah, I can kind of see Amber's point. I don't say it's a good point, but I can see where she's coming from.
Yeah, I probably would be more apt to believe that something was happening after finding out, that they had a history. You know what I mean?
And Bray is a
That
pretty
would
boy.
definitely change. He is a pretty boy.
A pretty boy. She's probably
Pretty
known
boy.
pretty boys in her own school with reputations.
And okay, trusting Bray not to steal water is entirely different than trusting Bray not to kiss another woman while in a relationship. Those are two entire, his moral compass may be flip-flopped on different things, and he may not think, he may be a free love type of person. I don't know.
And see, this is why I can't get on board with Bramber, because you guys are right. You know what I mean? It's absolutely, you guys are right that it's different when it comes to trusting someone not to do one thing and then trusting them not to do another. And so at the end of the day, it's like, you two shouldn't be together. You don't trust him. And this is a relationship that will always have this fractured trust system. And it's going to be the root of every conflict you ever have. You shouldn't be together. I can't get on board with Bramber.
Oh no, I completely understand that. I get it. Look, I like Bramber. You guys know this. You know what I mean? But I also don't 100% believe that they are good for each other either. They both bring out the worst in each other. And they bring out the best, but the worst kind of outweighs that a little bit, because you don't really see a lot of these negative traits with Amber until Bray is involved. So
you see her negative traits if men are involved.
I know, but I say Bray because the only other man was Sasha, and was he really a man? I don't.
Oh, you just couldn't resist.
I could not resist. I did not like Sasha.
Poor
I'm so
Sasha.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, people hate Sasha. I don't know why.
No.
It was the doll arms. It was the doll arms.
He's funny.
This episode just reminded me as to why I try to root for Bramber. I understand why people love them, but it's when we get to this episode, I'm like, oh yeah, that's why. This is why I've never been able to.
Well,
this starts the pattern of this toxic relationship that just
they're meant to be that couple that's supposed to be loved by everyone because they're the protagonist couple.
I'm just like, this is so unhealthy.
Yeah. And us, we, break these things down and tear these things apart and overanalyze everything, and they're not good for one another.
I think even before we started analyzing things, first time I saw this and, then the seasons to come, I was not cheering for Bray and Amber together.
I wasn't either. Back in the day, I did not like them together at all.
They just felt wrong.
Yeah, I agree. Bray Denis all day.
No, I've always been a Bray and Trudy fan.
I was pro Bray and Trudy and pro Bray and Danny.
I don't like Danny.
That's gonna be that's gonna be fun next season.
Oh, it's gonna be great! I can't wait.
Yeah, but with Amber, it's as far as we know, this is the first ever relationship she's been in, right?
There was Sasha.
Well, that wasn't. Was that a relationship?
No, but see,
yes,
Amber could absolutely 100% considered it a relationship. So yeah,
from
I would
her
say
point
that
of view, it was.
But I don't know if I believe
Okay.
that this is her
Okay.
first relationship. So
Well, maybe that would make sense then if Sasha was her first, because since it went by so fast, she didn't really learn anything from it per se. And I think that Amber, she's so young, she's still learning about relationships, and we'll see her get into many more relationships. But I think
Sasha was her summer fling.
yeah, summer,
like that summer camp crush,
absolutely. I think the number one thing Amber has to learn in being in a relationship, especially just for her, is to never believe nothing you hear and then half of what you see. And if all else fails, just communicate with your partner. And before she even decides to talk to Bray about anything, she just wants to make up stories in her head, which is always a problem. And
which is what most women do.
Right. But yeah, I agree. This is totally major points off of Bray and Amber as a couple. And so far for Ebony and Bray, the score is 28-1.
0. Sorry, bud.
Bray's taken.
By who?
By everybody but Ebony.
Everybody but Ebony, yeah.
How many did you lay out before he got to Top Hat?
I'd say 6 or 7
6 or 7.
each.
Whoa.
I swear it. Word of honor.
Just a quick one, guys, because we mentioned this in the previous episode. But during their journey, the Morats make a pit stop, and it's here that Lex regales the group with his tale of taking on Top Hat. How does everyone still feel about this? Because does Lex spinning his tail make it better or worse for you?
I still wish if they weren't going to let us see it, then they should have not involved Top Hat. But I do understand why they want to give Lex a heroic moment before he loses his wife, blah, blah, blah. So for me, this is kind of harmless and cute because nobody believes Lex except for Casey,
Yeah.
and the others are just smiling indulgently, to like his exaggerated tale of heroism. Like Zandra clearly appreciates the gesture of what her husband did for her honor. And it's just a harmless tale, of
It is, yeah. I enjoyed it, actually.
It's pretty cute.
I thought it was nice. It's story time. They needed a little, entertainment.
Yeah, and they're all indulging him and not saying anything about it because, well, what's the use of that right now?
Exactly, like they're just enjoying the story and letting him have it.
What's the harm?
All they have right now is each other. It's not hurting anyone, so meh, let him have it.
Casey's face lighting up, like, how many people did you have to take out, and you see the girl, Ryan, Celine, and Sandra all smirking as he explains, oh yeah, it was like 7 or 8 a piece, and Casey's like, what? And I don't know, there's just something very sweet about it.
It was.
And then Ryan confirming it just, for the kids' enjoyment.
It was adorable.
But yeah, it made complete sense to me that Lex would fabricate this Top Hat story a bit, because the stories he was telling with him and Zoot totally were like off the rails. Literally. So yeah, I mean, it was a cool thing to see. Doesn't really surprise me. Lex is he's a pretty good liar.
Maybe I was just relieved that he wasn't being a negative force on this trip. Maybe that's it. I was just like proud of him for being productive and positive the whole way up this mountain. We already got this friggin' drama over here with the love story twins, and I didn't need Lex to become a problem, so it was nice that he wasn't being one.
Okay, this next bit really, this really surprised me actually on the rewatch. So, with the bus out of action and no map, Jack is forced to rely on Tai-san's very oddly specific directions as the gang carry on towards Eagle Mountain on foot. And Tai-san has also been growing more and more connected to Jack and calling him to stay with her so that she can gain more insight into their journey and calling for him often. And we have to mention Tal's spurned lover exit stayed left routine when Tai-san begs Jack to stay with her later on. Panel, so many questions here. What do you think is going on here between Tai-san and Jack?
I think Tai-san's freaking out. I think she's freaking out. She doesn't know what she's doing, and she wants Jack to ground her.
And Jack is freaking out because he knows he doesn't have the map.
Yeah. So he wants Tysan to pick up the slack. They both have no idea what they're doing. That's what's going on.
It's like, help me, Tysan. You're my only hope.
Actually really nice, since this has been a conflict between spiritualism and science all this time, and the both of them completely discounting the other's beliefs and showing zero respect for each other because they don't believe in the same thing. And then this situation with them both coming up with Eagle Mountain together, it kind of forces them to look at each other and consider the other person's point of view. And I just thought this was a cute visualization of those 2 points of view having to kind of meet each other midway, because that's usually where the answer really is in life. And so I liked that. Jack doesn't have a map, and Tysan doesn't know the way. She's just letting herself to be guided there. And I really like the way Tysan's opening up to, like, Jack, for some reason, I don't know why we clicked. I don't know how we got the same answer, but maybe that's the universe telling me I need to start, like, considering you and where you're coming from, and maybe together we're stronger, blah, blah, blah. And you have Jack, like, I really don't have a choice but to listen to you, even if I think this is totally crazy. But I felt bad for Dal. Dal, this is a red flag. Your boyfriend will dump you over a girl in a heartbeat.
Your boyfriend's going to leave you for her.
I felt bad for Dal. Like, what? Jack, are you serious?
How dare he?
So I thought Jack and Tysan was cute, and I like that, and I like that message it's giving you, but I feel super bad for Dal. Dal has supported him through everything.
He's the only one that's stuck by his side.
And it's like,
he came back to him.
Seriously? Are you kidding me? You're just going to stay here on the mountain with her after I already told you I'm leaving in the morning? This is what Jack's supposed to say. Okay, you know, I'll be leaving with you. I'm sorry, Tysan, or whatever, but I would have been pissed if I was Dal.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it would have been really funny to see Dale kind of react to that. Like, he would just walk up to Patsy and he's like, so what do you think they're talking about?
Think they like each other.
It does speak to how confused Jack is about his own standing. You know, his point of view was so firm. Jack knew what he believed, you know, and Tysan getting the same answer as him, and Tysan finding the mountain without a compass, without a map. It's really kind of, now he's going through a little bit of a crisis. You know,
I bet.
We saw Tysan go through one, and now it's Jack being just like, I'm not really sure. My whole belief system is kind of being thrown. I don't know what to do with that. Should I start paying attention more to what Tysan says? Should I stay here? Is the universe talking to us? Like, I don't know.
Maybe she really is a witch.
Maybe if I stay here, we will get the answer to the virus. Like, Jack's having a hard time right now. Shouldn't desert your boyfriend, though. Jack.
Poor boy.
You should talk Dal into staying with you. You don't just let him walk away.
He's so oblivious to it, too.
I wasn't going to talk about it, but I mean, Tysan's directions. How? Why? Like,
it's magic.
Did she secretly study a book or a map or something? Like, oh yeah, we just go 5 miles down there over the mountain, and then we'll see a lake. And like, what? No,
it was all in her dream. She saw the pictures in her dream.
But yeah, I would not have been surprised if she did study the map.
I begin to wonder about her.
Probably did.
But
I mean, we see what she does in the future, you know, with a certain something.
Yeah, but it's just that, you know, one thing I can give her is if you don't know where you're going and you're near mountains, your best chance of seeing where you need to go is by going up one, if you can overlook things.
Yeah, she just went to the top of that hill hoping to see something.
Yeah.
This is how she found them all, you guys. Tysan's a very instinctual creature.
Yeah.
You know, and she finds herself at peace with nature. And there are people who can do this, who don't study topography or maps or anything like that. But, you know, they're the kind of people who
does it.
You know, they're people who are like, I know that moss grows on the north side of a tree. So I always know that is north. They pay attention to, oh, what are the birds doing? Oh, the leaves are turning a certain way. That means rain is coming. You know, they're instinctual. And Tysan is just being very like common sense, traveling through the wilderness. That's how we've met her. When she meets Chloe, she doesn't even know where she's going.
She's a good tracker.
She's just kind of, this is her thing. And I liked it because there is, like, people can do this,
Yeah.
I don't think she saw the map. I really do believe for Tysan, she's just
I think she is just winging it. But considering season 2, it wouldn't have surprised me.
but in this case, it's probably
no. She saw this crap in her dreams, and she's tracking it. Going in the direction that she knew was Eagle Mountain, and
See, this is the problem with what they've tried to do with Tysan, because it's not quite spiritual, it's not quite science. They've left it so vague that you don't. It's not properly spiritual. If you get what I'm saying, it's not like because you get Jack, which is the technical side, and it's like technical. But with Tysan, it's so murky that you don't even completely believe that it is spiritual. You see what I'm saying? It's
actually do think that is the perfect definition of spiritualism. It is murky.
I think it means different things for different people.
Yeah, it's Tysan goes by on a faith of what? I'm not entirely sure what her faith is, but that's what makes her do the things that she does. She just believes, and spiritualism is extremely murky. It's like, how does this work? You know what I mean? I don't know. For me, my experience growing up in a religious household and becoming quite spiritual as a young adult, this is my experience with it. And for me, I'm just like, yeah. This feels like a spot on representation of how confusing it can be and how nonsensical and how sometimes things happen to bolster your belief that this must be what you should be doing. And then other things are just like, this doesn't make any sense. Why are we doing this? I don't understand. It contradicts itself all the time. And so, to me, it's like, that's spiritualism in a nutshell.
I agree.
Honestly, I'm probably like my second time or third time watching it. It honestly just felt logical to just think that she probably got some plant and I don't know, she's like really good at herbology. Maybe she sniffed too much of some type of plant and then she started hallucinating.
That's the thing is, I don't think Tysan's into like that type of stuff. Like, I don't think she would, do things necessarily like that to alter her state of being. I think she likes things to be natural. She's following her, natural instincts and just doing what she does. Like, I think her spirituality comes from Mother Earth. There's a balance to everything, elemental and all that.
I can see that.
Then again, she does like her tea.
And maybe she does seem kind of wonky because even the writers weren't exactly sure what they were doing with her, because her behavior does kind of alter in season 2 and going forth. She's not as much of a free-spirited kind of forest child with the ether. She starts trying to lock down her belief system to actual like books and things that she's read. And so I don't know if maybe it was just the writers not really knowing. They didn't want her to be too concrete in season 1. And then later on, they tried to make her more concrete, which kind of makes Tysan more contradictory than she ever was, in my opinion. But that could just be growing up too. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That could be that too. It's so easy to believe certain things when you're young, and then you get older and real life clouds those innocent beliefs. And
I do think real life did, come in and show her that things aren't what she may think that they are,
Especially when your beliefs keep being wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
And may cause harm because they were wrong.
Yep.
That can mess you up too. So this might just be Tysan at her most innocent, and that like the last dregs of being able to just innocently believe any of this. And then she's forced to grow up as the seasons continue.
Look at them. Still taking orders from Bray like good little sheep.
Shut up, Ebony.
What did you say?
You heard me. You've caused enough trouble. If you don't like it here, then go back. No one will miss you.
The Morats eventually reach an observatory on Eagle Mountain, although it's not immediately clear what their next move should be. When Ebony voices her dissatisfaction, she is shocked to receive a dressing down from Trudy. And later, while trying to get one up on Lex by revealing that he destroyed the original antidote, she's fooled again when Bray takes the blame. Yeah, Panna, what was your first impressions of the observatory, and what did you make of all the immediate interactions between the group?
It was nice to see the tribe sticking together as a tribe, like telling Ebony no.
Mhm.
And Bray doing what he did with, protecting Lex, if you will. It really showed me and, that they are a tribe, they're a family, and she's not going to come in and she's not going to stir trouble. They're not going to allow it. And I think that's wonderful.
I liked how the whole journey, the tone of it, getting up this mountain, it keeps crescendoing and then crashing down, crescendo, crash down, crescendo. So our heroes will hit a pit stop, like, oh, a barricade. Are we going to get past these guys? And then the bus comes and saves them. And then it's like, yay, we're on a high. And then boom, the bus breaks down. Now we're on foot and we're struggling and we're kind of lost. You know what I mean? And then we get another high. Guess what? Tysan's leading the way. She's going to figure this out. And then we're reaching the point where it's like, oh boy, this better be up there because we're out of food, and Jack's starting to panic, and Tysan can't give him a straight answer. And then boom, she's like, Jack, look up here. They found the observatory. Yay, another high. Then they get in the observatory and it's like, there's nothing here. Like, we don't even know what we should be looking for. And then, oh, there's food. Okay, we're not going to starve. Now what? Oh, we can't get these computers to turn on. And then finally they do. And it's just a roller coaster ride this whole way. Like, okay, what's going to happen next? So I do like that tonal. It feels like an emotional journey, even though it's not very, like, visually, it's not a long journey. But I do like it visually because we keep getting a bunch of different location shots that make it feel like the kids are actually traveling, which I like that a lot. These location shots are so gorgeous. Like, it really looks like they're trekking up a mountain, it looks exhausting, but because they can't spend a ton of time on it, those crescendos, those up and downs make you feel like you kind of took the journey with them because you're a little emotionally exhausted by the end. Like, what else could go wrong? I did like that. And I like what Maggie says about, Ebony not being able to come between the group. Like, we let you tag along, but you're not one of us. Do not cause trouble for us because we won't tolerate it. I liked Bray standing up for Lex. Lex didn't deserve it because remember when Lex came back to the mall, he added to Amber's, feelings of despair over Bray by saying, "Why would Bray come back? He seemed really cozy with Ebony." Lex didn't have to do that. That was just mean, But
Bray doesn't know that.
My point is, it says much a better person that Bray is. His first instinct was to defend Lex, despite what Lex had done. And just be like, Ebony, don't. He's been playing peacemaker this whole time. Don't cause any trouble. And we have, don't do that.
He wouldn't allow her to tear Lex down and to put Lex, in that place. So I thought it was great.
And you see, Lex was not expecting that, and he feels like a heel. So of course he repays the favor, But I like that about their relationship. Ebony being put in her place. Like, look, you don't belong here. Do not start trying to come between us. You've already caused enough trouble.
I love the observation scene. I think it's gotten to a point now in the season where these characters can now just write themselves. All you have to do is just put them in different locations or, at a brand new location and just seeing how everyone reacts to it. It's just fantastic.
They don't really explore the observatory, which I thought was weird. I will say that I thought that was a little weird. Like, they walk into one empty room and they're like, that's it? I'm like, dude, there's a whole building. Check out the whole place.
Right.
But yeah, obviously nobody stayed for whatever reason.
No one stayed. No one decided to take the food.
It did annoy me that they didn't explore the rest of the building.
I mean, I suppose ignoring everything else, like, it is just a signpost to go back to the city to find the antidote. So no reason to stay for now. Yeah.
I did feel them. I felt their disappointment when they first get there. The door is locked, and then they get inside, and it seems like it's an empty room. I had to climb a mountain once, and it only took me 6 hours, but I remember getting to the top of this freaking big-ass mountain, and I am pissed. I am furious. I have had a hard time getting up this thing. At one point, I was sobbing my eyes out because I thought I was stuck on it for the rest of my life. I get to the top. I'm surrounded by trees. My friend greets me. He was up there sooner than me. He's like, isn't this awesome? I'm like, where is the view? And he goes, "Oh, you have to climb a tower." And I was like, "I just climbed the mountain." I was so angry, you guys. I felt the mall rat's frustration. Like, there better be a burger bar up here with directions to the antidote. That's how upset I am. Like, this was exhausting. I want answers.
A lemonade stand serving the antidote. That's what I'd
climbed
ask
30
for.
miles, and that you want me to keep searching? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I felt that in my gut.
But what else did they expect? It's not like, why on earth would there suddenly be just a bunch of files of the antidote ready for them at the top of that mountain?
That's why they went there.
Yeah, but
they went there for the answers. So you want to have gone there for a good reason.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I get what Sabine's saying. Like, what exactly did they expect it to be laid out in front of them as a buffet? For their picking, to just say, "Oh, this is antidote right here. This is what it is." Like, it's kind of like they expected to walk in and it just be handed to them. At least that's the way their reaction, to the disappointment and their frustration and it just being a room.
I mean, I agree with you. Like, this is a very realistic scavenger hunt for the answer. I'm glad they had to put this much work into finding it, because otherwise, wouldn't the adults found it? But anyway, whatever.
Right, and they've got more work.
So I like the fact that they had to start from scratch, from zero, to get here. But I still just totally get why they're so done with this.
Oh yeah, no, I understand too.
Yeah, that's everybody at the end of a road trip.
We've gone this far, and now we have to do more.
Right.
It's just like that some of those, like some of these characters genuinely believe that they thought it was just going to be there. Like, Jack, they know that they're going to have to search for stuff. They're going to have to look. Whereas, like, maybe Chloe and Patsy, maybe they were like, "Is it just going to be there?" I don't know. Lex too, maybe.
No, because Lex
is naive enough to.
Yeah, but I mean, the people who went to Hope Island should have at least been realistic enough.
Now, I feel like their reactions are completely in line, very realistic. I feel like if I had traveled 30 miles hoping an answer would be there, I would be disappointed too, even though, logically I should have known better. But why else did I go on this journey? I went because I needed to believe the answer would be there, only for it not to be there in flaming neon letters for me. I'm going to be disappointed, and
yeah,
because it's a dead end. Yeah. Your hope, you got your hope up,
or it feels like
just
a dead end.
Where am I supposed to go next? What's the next step in the scavenger hunt? And you're scared to get your hope up for the next step of the scavenger hunt, because what if this one also leads to nowhere? And will I survive to make it to the end of this hunt? So I get it. I get it. Start to get exhausted after a while.
Oh yeah, and I can especially see the ones that had already gone to Hope Island being even more exasperated with the situation. Like, they've done this already, been here, done that. Where's the minefield? Like, and it to feel like it was for nothing.
That little part actually bugged me. That
there wasn't a minefield.
No, that they didn't even check for one.
Yeah, they didn't even think, "Oh, there might." Well,
wait, the last place was booby trapped. Maybe this one might be too.
Tysan would have sensed it. No, I'm joking.
With her magic powers.
Magic powers. Someone on the YouTube comments for this episode said, "Oh, I'm a hippie, but Tysan is like on some other type of mushroom."
That's the thing, is I genuinely don't believe that she is inebriated at all. I just think that maybe she was raised this way. She was raised to, believe in certain things and to stay strong to those beliefs.
Yeah. And also, this is such a cool location, like the way like the computers are set up and the way the lights are dimmed. It's a little bit upsetting that it, eventually it's going to get destroyed. And this is like the last time they're like inside the observation room. I just thought it would have been really cool to have some more scenes here in future seasons.
Yeah. I was thinking that not too long ago, actually, about how disappointed I was that we probably wouldn't be able to, they'd not be able to use Eagle Mountain again as, a place to shoot. It would have been cool to have a tribe there.
I was just thinking that it would have been even cooler if they would have like announced the observation place as like their fallback home.
Right. We're just gonna stay here. Look at all this food.
But like, if something ever goes wrong, if the tribe is like attacked, the city's gone to hell. Meet back here, no matter what.
Yep.
That would have been really cool.
So, what? We're just gonna leave without a word?
I thought it would be easier this way.
Yeah. Well, you would, wouldn't you? You always found it easier to run.
If you feel that strongly, Amber, why'd you come after me?
Because she's crazy about you. Isn't that obvious?
Jack manages to activate the observatory's satellite tracking system, but the group are disheartened when nothing is found. Speaking of something not being found, true to form, Bray has already disappeared. This leads to Amber confronting him and the pair being reunited after some home truths from Lex. So, panel, what's your honest opinions about this fan favorite scene?
The moment Lex said that they should kiss, it reminded me of a scene in, I think it was It Takes Two, where a little girl just said, "So kiss already."
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I can see that too.
Classic.
It's just, I cringe because he literally doesn't even give them a chance to register what he just said. And then he's like, "That's your cue to kiss her." And I'm like, what was his cue? You didn't even stop talking.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to be bothered with them that long.
Yeah, I know, and I get it. And I do like the concept of the scene, you know, Lex is coming out there now and he's gonna do Bray a favor back, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna
And Amber sees it for what that is at first.
exactly, you know. But Amber, and why wouldn't Bray run off? You were unreasonable.
And it's what
Not
Bray
unreasonable.
always does.
I'm not going to say unreasonable, okay? She just wasn't willing to reason with him in that moment.
Out of context, I think visually it looks great. I think it's probably my favorite kiss in all 5 seasons, just by itself. Again, out of context, not knowing who people are. Chemistry is great. It's a beautiful shot. They look like 2 people in love. I was like, that's a hot kiss. It's really well done. I like the setting. I even like, you know, Lex having to come out there and be like, repay his favor to Bray as his brother. Like, look, I'm going to help you out because you clearly don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to make up to a girl, Bray. Here are some clues. I screw up all the time. Let me tell you what you got to do.
I'm an expert.
You don't just run off. You got to say you're sorry, even if you're not in the wrong. So I like all that. And I can honestly say that in a bubble, just with season 1, I love this, but it's the last time I'll ever love Amber and Bray. And for me, this is where Amber and Bray dies. This is the last moment. No, I'm serious. I'm not trying to be sarcastic.
No, I get it. Yeah.
This is the last time that I feel like this is an earned moment between these two. This is the last time I feel like it's really the story of Amber, a couple who had to work their way here, who got to know each other, who shared their vulnerabilities, who were honest with each other. This is the last time I'm going to feel that for them, because the resurrection of this relationship is a shadow of its former self, just like Amber is a shadow of her former self. And so by itself, I think it's lovely. But in context, again, it's just like they didn't resolve anything. They didn't talk through the problem or the misunderstanding. It took Bray, Ebony, and Lex to convince Amber to even consider that Bray was innocent. And even then, she doesn't talk to him about it. They just suck face. Nothing has been resolved here. And it's just going to lead to the next rage-inducing conflict between them.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's nice out of context. But otherwise, I'm just like, I'm glad you guys have it. Enjoy it, because that's the last you're ever going to really see of this beautiful relationship. Sorry, I'm too bitter by everything that comes after. It's ruined me. I can't enjoy it anymore.
I know. That's why I say it sucks so badly that we've seen every bit of this so much. You know, we watched it so often. We're so biased towards certain things. Like it'd be so great to be able to watch it all over again for the first
and not
time.
know how like this is gonna what happens next. Knowing what happens next, is what
makes it hard for me with a lot of characters
until season 3 started, and then I knew what happened next. You know, and I was like, "Are you kidding?" But in its own bubble, by itself, it's quite lovely.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, okay, they got through their big first conflict, even though they didn't talk about it, whatever. They're young. They're allowed to. They'll talk about it after, They'll talk about it later. No, they won't.
Wow, way to go. Thanks. Too soon.
Like, you guys, I really want to love this. Why are you ruining it for me?
Yeah, the scene was beautiful. It's just I like to watch it without any audio because it's just like a great scene. But all the context included is kind of, I don't know. It comes off as like this B-list romantic comedy that no one wants to watch. But I mean, it's good. It's a good Amber and Bray moment. The kiss is romantic. The lighting is great. They both have on.
The view is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. It's great.
Yeah, let's move on to what happens immediately after, because feeling that this is the end of their journey, Lex suddenly makes an announcement that him and Zandra will be leaving the group, and he quickly shoots down Casey's plea to go with them with a kind of cool joke about him being their butler. I want to focus on that first of all. Like, yeah, what did you make of Lex and Zandra's decision to leave the Mallrats, regardless of any discoveries about the antidote?
It was very logical. I could totally understand why they would.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
They have a child to think about. Zandra has managed not to get ill all this time. I would not want to return to the city if I was either of them.
Absolutely not.
Lex,
Yeah.
he barely survived getting the virus. Maybe it won't be someplace else. I wouldn't want to risk going back there, especially if we have no way to.
Me neither.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have someone else to think about.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. For once, it feels like Lex is doing something that isn't just in his own best interest, but
Right.
for her, for his child, for his wife.
Yeah, it's not for him. Yeah. I thought it really showed his character and where his character is from where it was from the beginning, the first episode until now.
Not to mention, considering what it means to go back to the city, that's another 2-day trek, 30 miles back into that hellhole. Where what is waiting for them?
That virus infested.
Yeah, what is
hellhole,
waiting for you there? You know what I mean? I don't think I'd want to go back.
I don't see why any of them would, to be honest. Like,
Oh yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm just, I guess, a little bit surprised that Lex wouldn't wait to see if Jack could find an antidote.
I think he's already given up on that at this point.
I think so too. Or maybe he thinks because he's already taken the antidote, he was cured. He's going to take Zandra away from the city. They're not going to need it. I mean, I obviously we don't know for sure, but I don't know if Lex's mind really goes that deep. But it probably does, because I think he's a pretty intelligent fella when he needs to be.
I think a near-death experience may have been enough for Lex to be like, I don't want to test it anymore. We barely survived it this time. I don't want to do it again.
And let's not forget, he just pissed off Top Hat. He's not going near that guy again if he gets a chance.
Or Tribe Circus, yeah. I didn't even think about that. But let's just go with Lexus being the responsible daddy.
He is. I think he's making the most logical choice for himself, his wife, and his soon-to-be child.
And yeah, it makes total sense that he says it's fine if KC comes along with it. And
oh yeah, what I knew is I was like, yeah, Casey's gonna go.
Yeah, his comment about him being the butler is just Lex being
Lex,
and not wanting to say, "Oh sure, kid, of course I want you to stay with us."
Right, he doesn't want to say, "Yep, we're gonna be your new mommy and daddy," but
yeah,
it's gonna be.
I
fine.
do hate the way Casey's face falls, though. He wants to be with Lex, and Lex is making it sound like, well, we don't really want you around unless we can boss you around. Look at the way Casey's face falls at that.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It is. It's very heartbreaking, but that's that. Unfortunately, that is Lex's character. That is, he can't let them know or let Casey know that he really does care about it. But it does hurt me that Casey was so upset about it.
Oh, did you think he wanted Casey along?
Yeah, I think so.
I think he does.
Oh, I saw it.
I genuinely do. No, I genuinely do believe that Lex cares about Casey.
Oh yeah, I just saw that scene differently. I thought he was saying that to say that no, we're going alone, we're not having you along.
No, I feel like Lex was saying that to save face because that's what he does, or maybe not even necessarily to save face, but just to make a joke because that's the type of thing that Lex would say. Yeah. That's the type of joke that he would make. He'd make that joke about Ryan.
Oh, I think maybe, that he would have been totally fine with Casey going with them. And again, I agree with you guys. He's just being insensitive about it. rather than admitting that,
Mhm.
yeah, of course, kid, we're not leaving you behind, you know.
Yeah.
But again, I can understand why Casey would think, oh, I'm not welcome.
Exactly, yeah.
But then again, for all I know, that wasn't the plan to take Casey, because the way Zandra looks at Lex, like they didn't discuss taking Casey.
It might not have been might not even have
So
come
I'm like,
up.
I don't know what these two were thinking or what they discussed. Was it just going to be the two of
They
them?
probably did plan on it just being the two of them, but then, Casey said he wanted to go and Lex probably was like, yeah, cool, no problem. I don't think Zandra necessarily wanted him to go.
Yeah, Zandra
But
seemed like she was 50-50.
I think Lex did.
Yeah.
But I think Lex has his reasons for it, he uses Casey.
He uses
to do his
Casey,
bidding.
but on the other hand, Casey is like mini Lex in his world.
Yeah, and I do think that he cares about
Yeah.
Casey, but he also knows that Casey is beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
And having Casey around definitely helps, and then just finding out that Casey's the one who saved Zandra from Top Hat.
There's some gratitude there.
Yeah, I wonder where they would have went.
Anywhere but there. Who knows?
To the other side of the mountain.
That's where the vagueness of their world causes problems, because they should already know what's on the other side of the mountain. I mean, it's literally only 30 miles from their home. They should know what surrounds, what cities are out there.
Yeah, but I think it's more, of just finding out what's still, like what it's like now on the other side, what they're going to discover. Like what is it like over there now since the adults are gone? It's a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah, they always kind of made that sound like it's some type of utopia.
Yeah, like they always I don't think they had the rights to say that it was Wellington,
Mm-hmm.
So it's the city. It's just the city.
Yeah, but that's because they wanted it to be a random city that could be anywhere.
Where anybody could relate to it.
She's afraid the tribe will split up and she'll be on her own again. I told her not to worry, and then if it came to it, you and I would look after her. And Patsy. It'd be kind of like starting our own family, but without all the dirty diapers. Did I say the right thing?
Okay, yeah, and with the floodgates open and the tribe on the verge of collapse, the other members of the tribe are forced to now consider their future. Celine is determined to look after the kids, and she asks Ryan if she was wrong to include him in that. Panel, yeah, what do you make of the other groupings being formed? And does it make you sad to feel that this could have been the end of the Mallrats?
Yes, it makes me sad, but I don't know why they couldn't just think of, I don't know why they suddenly decided they were all going to split up. I understand Lex and Zandra leaving, you know what I mean? Jack maybe sticking around there for a little bit longer, but why couldn't the others have gone somewhere together?
I think it speaks to the fact that these guys were together by necessity.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were in the city, they needed a safe place to go. This formed by accident. They weren't friends before. They didn't even necessarily like each other. They just needed each other. And this is the first time as a group that they're suddenly all faced with a freedom of choice. Like if I wanted to do something else, I could. There are other people who'd be willing to go with me. They've already done the hard part of leaving the city. They've done that. So now it's just like, do we, we don't have to go back. We already made it out here. I do think that's really interesting because that's the first time many of these characters are facing this chance to start over if they'd like to, and not have to go to the dangerous city to try and start over. They already made it out, and it says something that so many of them are willing to be like, well, it was nice knowing you, but bye. Like, wow, you guys are willing to disassemble this family really quick. That is kind of sad. I feel like it would kind of hurt my stomach a little bit to realize that the people I depended on were so quick to break up when we no longer needed each other. And but I think that's also pretty realistic.
I do think it speaks to Celine's character, though. I mean, here these kids are seeing people leave or talking about leaving, and Celine's first instinct is to tell the girls, no, we'll take care of you, don't worry.
That makes sense.
It makes sense for her, because she was the one looking after the kids before the Mallrats formed.
Right, they were with her.
Yeah, so it makes sense that she instantly says, no, we'll stay with you, and then ask Ryan later if he's actually okay with her saying that he'll stay with them as well.
It's also important to realize that Celine isn't suggesting they break off from the rest of the Mallrats.
No.
She's just reassuring the kids that no matter what happens to the group, we won't leave you guys alone. Like, if everybody else in the group decides to go their separate ways, you'll still have me and you'll still have Ryan. We will stick together.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if the Mallrats decide to stay together, I'm sure Celine and the kids would, but
yeah,
she's not suggesting, well, let's go do our own thing.
Oh, yeah, no, I know she's not.
I was just thinking, well, if they would split off and Lex would split off, then who would Trudy go with? And I suddenly realized he'd probably try and stick with Ryan and Celine.
Yeah, I would think that Trudy would stick with
the kids.
Celine and the kids, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely the kids. Or she'll just make an excuse to stay next to Bray.
No, because Bray was already attempting to take off. Bray wasn't going to take her with him.
Yeah, she'd been there, done that.
And she wasn't going to stay in his harem.
And he knew that if she was with the Mallrats, she'd be safe.
And so many spin-off series could have been done if that was the case. If everyone just went their own separate ways.
Oh, enjoy writing them? That's the joy of fan fiction.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm sure Jack and Dale probably would have went somewhere, right?
Well, Jack wasn't sure if he was going to stay with Tai-San.
Oh, if Jack was staying and Dale's staying.
Al had already said, I'm going back to the city. I'm leaving tomorrow. What are you doing, Jack? And Jack looks between him and Tai-San and is like, and Dale's like, are you serious? I'm out.
You serious? You're choosing her over me?
Right.
Our history means nothing?
I was surprised that Dale said he'd go back to the city.
Yeah.
Me too. I was just thinking that. That is crazy that he would choose to go to the city instead of, like, now you're already out here.
Yeah.
Go somewhere else.
Find a farm.
Yeah, that is a surprise.
He's been saying that all season.
Now is the time for you to snag Amber and get out while Amber's still being all...
Bray sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, either the writers completely forgot of what Dal has always wanted to do, or they forgot to include the reason he wants to go back to the city is because he hasn't given up on finding this antidote.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. And he did kind of get his fill of trying to go to the countryside.
Mm-hmm. And getting sold.
Way back when. Yeah. So that might have definitely deterred him. But I don't see why he wouldn't just stay with Jack.
But considering the writers never intended on splitting the Mallrats up, maybe this was just them trying to make it sound like this is the end before we suddenly have the satellite give us a message and blah, 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 and change the whole scope.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those, ups and down things that you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So it might just been complete drama for drama's sake, since they knew we're not actually splitting these kids up.
Yeah.
Attention. This is a pre-recorded message. If you are listening to this, the only hope for humanity lies with you, whoever you are. Listen very carefully to what I have to say next.
So yeah, that leads us to the final scenes of the episode, which is the pre-recorded message, which is triggered in the observatory. And the series ends on a cliffhanger, though one that we all remember differently. But yeah, Pan, what did you make of how that show actually ended? And what do you think was going to happen next?
Like I told you, I had a moment this morning. It really threw me off anyway. So.
And not just you.
Yeah, like I'm telling you. I think it was definitely a good way to make sure that people tuned in for the season premiere.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember really loving it. Again, I already knew, stuff that was going to happen, so I didn't see it in perfect order. But even my first impression of it was, this is really cool, because even knowing that these guys would eventually find the answer while I was watching this season for the first time by itself, it did put me in the headspace of feeling like there's no place else to go now that we're here and there are no answers. And I was like, this was really well done, this tone, because even I was at the sense of hopelessness before they started talking, and I was like, oh, this is what made the kids decide to go back.
Yeah, it definitely makes you question.
I was like, that was a really cool cliffhanger, because at this point these kids have had so many highs lows on this journey, and finally there's a voice from before literally talking to them. Somebody finally left them a purposeful message. Everything else they found was an accident, but here is somebody who actually left a pre-recorded message to tell them something about this. And I was like,
and to tell them they were the last hope.
I was like,
You know?
Oh my gosh. Like, this is amazing. I couldn't wait to find out what they were going to hear.
It definitely felt some gratification.
Yes, finally. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to find, because everything else was an accident that they found it. You know, nobody meant for them to find it. So this was the final hope that somebody was like, for those who are going to be left behind, we've got to leave something for them. And it was worth it. And
Yes.
yay.
And how convenient that it was the mall rats.
Which is interesting because they couldn't get this thing. I couldn't help but wonder if it wasn't until the satellite went over the station that it was able to identify that somebody was there. Because the station itself did not react to the children's presence, but maybe the satellite reacted to them being there. And that's when it finally started to speak. That's what made, you know, like, so the satellite's just been going around the earth waiting to spot people or whatever heat signatures in the places where they've left this message. And finally they found there's actually people here. And it's like, oh, okay. Because otherwise, if this was a pre-recorded message made for people to show up there, wouldn't it have gone on as soon as the kids had turned on the computers and stuff? And
you would think,
so I did think that was really cool. Especially since when they were first scanning the sky was empty, which is absolutely terrifying.
Oh, for sure. I was like, oh my God, wow, there's really nothing there.
Like, how are all the satellites gone? How can there be nothing there?
And how did people die in space? That's my thing. How'd they get the virus in space?
Yeah, they probably just didn't return to Earth and died up there of like dehydration, starvation, whatever.
Yeah, because they didn't have anybody bringing them.
That's terrifying.
That sucks. Yeah. Oh, that's rough, man. Oh my gosh. Because you would think that'd be the last hope, you know, up in space or way out at sea.
Yep. It's like, we can't refuel you, and
you're gonna die. Sorry,
God
guys.
be with you.
Basic God be with you. Yeah. Oh, that message.
And Celine's going, please don't come back. Don't leave us, you know.
It's like, okay, yes, that makes sense for you to say that, but who are you talking to?
Adult voice. The first adult voice I've heard in a year. Don't go, please.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I'd probably say the same thing.
So I do love it as a cliffhanger.
So do I. And it really draws people in, makes sure that you're going to get them back for that season 2 premiere.
Yeah, this cliffhanger was amazing. I will never forget where I was when I was watching it. It was 3 a.m. just having another Tribe marathon. And I'm like, it's finally the last episode of season 1. And the way they just kind of left it all up in the air, just in terms of there is a cure. You have to be the ones that find it. And it's not just when I first watched it, I felt that it was not just a city thing anymore. When they said that they're the only hope, I'm like, oh my God, it's like the world. Like, we have to like legit save the world. And I thought that was incredible. I honestly thought season 2, I thought someone was going to die, but because, you know, this entire journey is so incredible, it would almost be kind of meaningless if they didn't have like a huge sacrifice along with this journey.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, I was just definitely one of my favorite season finales of any show. Yeah,
looking at it like that, it really is. It's just, for some reason, I kept remembering the first 5 minutes of the season opening.
That's what I'm saying.
As being the cliffhanger.
Yeah, like I definitely thought that was the cliffhanger, and things were definitely way different, but everything was the same, just in a different order.
I just thought we had 5 more minutes on this episode.
So did I. It was a good episode.
It was a good finale.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely a good, 52 episodes. Good grief.
And tonally, it's a good finale for season 1 in general. Season 1 is more of a character study than anything else. There's not a ton of plot. There's not a ton of action. It's really just about getting to know these people and how they are handling the apocalypse. And you could say season 1 starts off with a bang. We're just thrown into the middle of the end of the world with these kids. And we're just running alongside them. Like, what are we running from? Do you guys know what's going on? You know, and they're like,
that's how I felt the first time I watched it.
And the kids are like, just keep up. We'll tell you when we find a safe place to stop, you know? And so it starts off with such a bang. And then it just gets quiet as we get to spend 52 episodes getting to know these people. And it ends with a very quiet sentence. listen very carefully to what I have to say. And it's like, I'm listening. And then it's like, sorry, you're going to have to wait.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
I was like, that was
tonally,
that's a great cliffhanger for this.
Yeah.
Kudos to you, Cloud9.
Like, nice. It's just a thoughtful cliffhanger, and there's no big bang, it's just a voice. Finally, a freaking voice. Like, someone's going to give us some damn answers.
I would have loved to see like the table read of the entire cast, like reading that for the first time.
Mm-hmm. I remember just being stuck for months wondering what was going to happen next.
See, I think I got lucky and I was able to watch it at a, later on, a couple years after it was released. So. Yeah,
same here. By the time I started the season 1 finale, I was like, okay, this is my last episode and I'm going to bed. But then the way it ended, I was like, nope, here, season 2, here I come.
All that time waiting by the TV, hoping they would start season 2 because they didn't announce when it would be.
Oh, that must have been awful.
Before there was internet and social media like there is today.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings episode 52 and series 1 itself to a close. I'd just like to take a moment to say a massive thank you to everyone who's helped make this podcast a success. Thank you to Liz, to Sabine, to Maggie, Carlin, and the 2 helped start it all, Hill and Kata. And also a massive thank you to Matt for all his help on the research notes. If you would like to take a part in a future episode of Conversation on Eagle Mountain, you can by filling out the form on our website, thetribe.co.uk, and look up the guest podcaster section. Or you can send us through a direct message on our Facebook page. There's a couple of quick and easy questions to answer, and then we'll help try and sort you out and get you involved. And we'll see you next time for Series 2. So until then, bye.
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 Later.
Bye.